And tonight we'll be discussing about us as parents and the possibility to be able to raise our children to be the caliber of persons that we would like to see
Yes.
in the future, and I will add to leave the word for when it would have been the right time for us to join our ancestors. So why is it important for us to raise our children right? First of all, there is no perfect formula concerning this particular aspect of our life. And anyone can claim to be an expert in how other people are raising their children, but the fact remains that we endeavor to do the best that we can without having a perfect guide or a perfect formula to actually undergo this process of childbearing and raising our children to be quote and unquote perfect adults. I prefer to use the word adults that are able to carry their own weight in life.
Yeah.
And that's something for me that is very, very important, because if one is not able to manage him or herself, or however the person choose to identify themselves, the person end up being a burden to the society. And being a burden to the society, living in a circumstances that is beyond one's control. In this instance, I'm not talking about the fact that maybe one is sick, but if one has to be in a situation for economic reasons or whatsoever and happen to be a burden to the society, it is actually not the right place to be.
Yeah.
And it happens to be very difficult to bear for that particular individuals. And what do I mean with this? When another adult has to tell a fellow adult what they should eat, where they can live, where they should go, and where they should not go, it is very, very difficult to bear as a
Mm-hmm.
person. So this is why for me it is important that we discuss this topic today and reason among ourselves, not only as parents, even those that do not have children of their own in brackets.
Yeah.
You know, there's this saying that goes that it takes a village to raise a child. So
Yeah.
the issue of young adults in particular is something that is very dear to my heart. And I'm happy that Tiasha, you agreed to do this discussion here with me today, not only as a parent, but even as someone that care about their fellow human being. So I welcome you once again. And the show has started, like I said, and this is the reason why I believe we should do this topic. How do we raise our children to be in that position whereby they will take their place in the world? It is very, very important to me. And I believe that the society that we live in today needs to have the leaders of tomorrow being able to make decisions, be autonomous in not only for themselves, but being able to make a decision that will be beneficial for our country and our world in general. So, with that being said, I will ask Tiasha, when we talk of leadership concerning children, when we
Mm-hmm.
talk of leadership, living, handing over the mantle of leadership to our younger ones,
Yeah.
when should that idea of leadership principle, when should we start transmitting it to our younger children?
I think that in general, that happens like, from the time they are born. It's
Okay.
because I mean, obviously, at that time they don't understand, but it's like if you have certain vision how you're gonna raise a child, you go from the day one, right, and you follow it. So I mean, the way I see it is, um, bringing up a child starts with day one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being infant or not, like you put a routine in a child, if not anything else, at that stage, right? I mean,
That
you
word
provide.
routine, that word routine, in this
Yeah.
day and age,
Hmm.
the word routine and being creating a routine for a younger child,
Yeah.
do you think one can protect a child's right with how will you define a routine in the first place?
First of all, that's not like taming a child down. I believe that, and I think that even psychologists, don't find anything wrong with that, because I believe that the child needs a routine, and routine is not like a bad thing. Routine is teaching a child what happens at certain, like we are talking about infant now, since I started with that. You teach a child, like you plan this in a mind that there are like certain hours in a day when something happens. So, for a child upbringing, they also say, because like I was even listening to one audio book now. Obviously, I don't have time to read, so I need to now proceed other options about,
Mhm.
how to tackle these things. And they use this word routine. And I've like until now you mentioned it, I never found anything wrong with it, to be honest. How I see routine is just like, letting a child know that there are certain things that are going to happen in certain time, because it does provide some sort of security. It's
Really?
there is a stability, right? A child knows, let's say, okay, after there is going to be a bath or a shower, parents are gonna hand me, I don't know, a milk, right? And then, the winding down time comes, and that's when, it's gonna be soon time to sleep. Child doesn't have a time, okay, it's 8 p.m. or whatever in head, but that routine of everyday's procedure. I don't know. We eat lunch, then they know, it's a playtime. You understand? It's something that they can predict. It provides them safety. Now, when they grow up a little bit, and they are aware of certain situations, they might start hating it. But I insist in using something because it does provide some sort of stability. That's how I see it, though. I might be wrong, and I do understand that the world we live in, we need to be very careful now. The terms we use, the approaches we use, but I mean, routine, come on. Like, what is wrong if I tell a child, I don't know, at 8 o'clock is bedtime?
That
I
is
don't see
that is
anything wrong with that.
perfect. I, for one, personally do not see anything wrong in particular about it. But at the same time, when we talk about raising children, there is always that need to look at the gray area of it. And children are very young, because the question that I asked before you make your intervention was, when exactly do you start with these things? You said it is important that we start earlier when they are still very young, even starting
Mhm.
by letting them know the importance of having a routine.
Right. I mean,
At
if,
2 years old, at 3 years old, at what age we that process start? Because I am imagining people that are much more younger than us
mhm.
that have children, and maybe they really don't know even the best way to manage themselves personally.
You see,
Not
I think
not
that
every adult have routine, Tiashan. I hope you understand
I
and realize that.
no, I do understand that. But I
Mhm.
always say I see parenting. Parenting is not working on a child; is working on yourself, right?
Sorry?
Because I mean, that's how I see it, because the child is your mirror reflection. It's nothing else. So if you don't have a routine, the child, I understand, cannot have a routine. If you're not used to that, obviously you can't implant that in your child. Now, the thing is that, you see, this is what we spoke about, I think briefly, even in some of our podcasts, and even, the previous ones, some of these things were mentioned. You
Mhm.
know, uh, why do you have a child? And and it's not just, I'm not talking about, oh, you want to create a, I don't know, future president. I'm not talking about that. you know I think it's just like, I don't know. I understand young people have children. I get it, and I understand they are used to certain different things. But I notice now when I do see them or I speak to them, there is so much confusion, and they still tend to look for advices in older generations because it comes to a time when a child is just like something they can't handle anymore. It comes to a stage because if you leave a child, I don't know, at the age of 4, 5, when they are wild and stuff, and you don't set certain boundaries, you don't have that routine set, the child at the end start jumping on your head. It's a known fact. I know today, no screaming, no obviously physical touches on the child, right? Uh, and raising a child nowadays is very hard just because of certain things, right? There is no like things like a punishment like we used to, or like raising child in fear, which I'm like totally against it. But I think that when you establish that stability within yourself, that you
Mm-hmm.
reflect it then upon a child. Because no matter, like, listen, just an example. If you have a family where two adults, parents, carers, whatever they are at that case, are
Mm-hmm.
arguing in front of child, right? Day after day after day after day. The child is absorbing, although you see nothing wrong with that. The child is not learning the stability. But if he's gonna see, I don't know, a husband hugging a wife and having that nice precious moments, the child is also absorbing that. Now, same goes to certain routines. If you're gonna be drinking alcohol in front of your child and then misbehaving and stuff, then I assume the child somewhere along the line is gonna believe that's okay. You've done it. You can't prevent me now to do it, right? Because it is implemented in you. And when you said it starts from the early age, of course, like at the age of 2, they're not gonna remember those years, but it's something that is within them. You want it or not want it,
Perfect.
right?
Perfect.
That's how I see it. um,
Mm-hmm.
it would be interesting to see like some other aspects of that, and maybe also you have a 4-year-old, right, who is at
Yes.
that stage now where he's like full energy and being a boy, for example, running
Mm-hmm.
around. You understand? And you see the development, right? If like you need to set, and I'm using it again, some routine in him, and also set some boundaries. Like obviously you're not gonna allow him to go swim in the lake in a park, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. But this
That
is what
that
I'm
way
talking
amount
about.
to
And
negligence.
exactly. But it's like some parents might be in that case, yeah, but let him explore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you see, there is a different like maybe approach how you take it, and how you stop that. Or like let's say the child is, I don't know, swinging and enjoying in a park, and you know that it's time for lunch. You understand? Are you gonna let the child then just swing away his way, and the way he wants it, or you gonna actually tell the child it's time to go? That's setting a routine, that's setting a boundary, that's teaching him also some priorities. A fun time ends at certain point, and it ends when I tell you. And then later they will understand, I don't know, some in the future, that whatever you did for them was for their good, you know like I as a teenager, I was angry at my mom for certain things when she was telling me, I don't know, clean the room and do this, do that, and I was like, oh my god, look at her nagging again. But now looking back at her, and now having a 7-year-old daughter that I need 1 week arguing with her for her to clean the room, I completely get it. But I am the one who says every single day, you have to clean the room. And it doesn't happen that day. And the next day is a bit raised voice. I told you yesterday to clean the room. I'm not gonna do it for you. You sleep there, right? I fold your clothes. I do everything for you. Your job is to clean the toys after yourself. Now, am I being too tough? I don't know. But at least I'm teaching my child that she has some responsibilities as well.
That's so
Am I,
true. No, no, no. I listen to you carefully, and there are two words that you use two words interchangeably, which I will like you to, okay, no, I will not even say that you should buttress more on it, but it's just that what I understood from it is that routine and having boundaries could be used interchangeably. They are two
Yeah,
instruments that one can apply, even starting as young as 2 years, as early as possible when it comes to raising up a child. And you said that
yeah.
you relate your experience to it as well when you were younger, the relationship you had with your mom and everything, and the discipline that he
Hmm.
inculcated in you.
Hmm.
Does Are you trying to say that the way a child is raised as early as even 2, 3 years old, for let's say between 0 to 10, could have a very huge implication in their life?
I believe so. For some reason, I do. Because if you don't, I mean, you know, why is the child, I'll use this as an example. They say if you are teaching a child two languages, for example, if you want the child to be bilingual or whatever, the best
Yes.
time is to start from zero, and they're the most open till the age of 5.
Yes. Even up to 7 as well. They can learn as much
Right, but
language they want
five,
to.
this is like 5 is that year when they say for sure, right?
So true. Yeah,
And
that's true.
there must be a reason for it. And it's not just because they are learning to speak. I mean, age of 7, for example, doesn't know all the words. The vocabulary is not as rich as an adult. Even
That's
some
true.
adults don't have rich vocabulary. So
Hmm.
there must be a reason why they say, because that's like that the biggest developmental stage. Like the milestones they are reaching in those ages are like enormous. If you check, like if you just see an infant, right? When you have an infant, just look at the development in 1 year,
Hmm.
right? The stages that the child can go through just in 12 months. And then look, just one, you have 4-year-old son,
Yeah.
right? And let's say your son is 4 and I don't know, let's say 2 months. And then you see somebody